Hello, everyone. I'm Jessica with Black Travelers Network, where we provide trips that focus on the Black experience to different parts of the world, and we cover news stories that impact the Black community. Today is really a sad day because, as most of you know, Nipsey Hussle, the great rapper, entrepreneur, entertainer, activist, the list goes on and on and on. He was, as of March 31st, he was assassinated. And I say assassinated because until I see something else that says otherwise, I feel like this was a real assassination, something that was politically motivated. With that being said, this is just a real tragedy, and sadly, there are no words. There are really no words. But the purpose of this video is to really largely pay respect to the brother and what he was working to do. As someone who tries to stay abreast on all things related to our history and our culture as people of African descent, I have to say that I didn't know his music, so I wasn't connected. I didn't connect with him through his music. I think the thing that grabbed my attention about Nipsey Hussle was really this picture that you're going to see on the screen. For those of you who don't know, his roots trace all the way back to the African country of Eritrea. It's said that his father was an Eritrean man, and his mom is a Black American woman, and he was born and lived in Los Angeles, born and raised in Los Angeles. And so um, this photo is actually a photo of him back in Eritrea because recently he went to the country, and this is one of a number of photos that came out as a direct result of his visit to his father's homeland. And what struck me about some of the photos that came from his time in Eritrea was just how much he looks very Eritrean. If I didn't know any better, I would think both his parents were Eritrean because he looks very Eritrean. And you know these images sort of represent a lot of what we as a community should work to build, and that's connections with each other in different parts of the world. And so that's how I tuned in to what he was doing. And it's just so crazy because hearing a bunch of celebrities who talk about their relationship with him and how they were working on different projects with him, and how good of a brother, how good of a person he was, how good of a friend he was, and I just would encourage those of us who did not have close personal relationships with him, I would encourage you to remember that Nipsey Hussle was not only a rapper, but a father. He was an entrepreneur that set a real example for what it meant to build, establish multiple streams of income, establish a connection with the culture, with your history, your roots, and most importantly, your family. These are the things that we should think about when we think about Nipsey Hussle and his legacy. So take a quick look at this video clip from Nipsey Hussle sitting down with Ebro and the Hot 97
off
team.
Camera, my dad was born in Africa, in a country called Eritrea, and he spent the first 20 years of his life over there. You know what I mean? So I was born and raised in LA. You know, I wasn't able to go back and really understand that side of my culture until I was 18 myself. But a lot of who I am, I understood more once I went over there, and just who I thought I was naturally, and parts of my personality and what I was just interested in, you know, is connected to my dad's side, you know. And so I got to meet my grandmother, I got to meet my cousins and everything. And
Eritrea. And for the audience, I know because Laura, I think it was you asked the other day, where's Eritrea?
Right.
Eritrea is in Ethiopia. It was a small territory. There was a civil war, and now it's its own separate country. And we could talk about, that's a whole other
that's a long,
political
100%.
conversation. But
yeah.
Eritreans, Ethiopians,
pretty much the same. It's like
same zone,
yeah,
same.
It's like New York. You got all the boroughs. Everybody a New Yorker. It's different nuances,
tribes.
You know what I'm saying? But pretty much you're a New Yorker. You know what I mean? So in that part, it's East Africa. It's called the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia, Eritrea. The political divide is not doesn't trickle down to the people. Everybody still feel like they want people, and they, you know, everybody has pride in they country because it was a war fought.
And also, if you want to do research on Ethiopia, it's one of the only African countries to never be conquered by white people.
Wasn't colonized ever. Yeah,
wasn't colonized.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So still to this day. So that's a whole other combo.
That's the
only
part of Africa that wasn't. And so that's like you was talking about. It's just a pride to be from that part of Africa. There's a big pride, and even Jamaicans and Rastafarians, if that's the way you say it, Rastafari, they identify with the culture of Ethiopia and Eritrea, just based on the fact that it was never colonized. But thing that I noticed when I went over there that's really different than our culture here in America is, and it doesn't sound too deep, but it really is, was how everything is based around food, right? So imagine every day from 12 noon to 3 p.m., the whole city shut down and everybody go home and eat. So like we at work right now, we'll stop what we doing at noon and you'll go home to your kids and your wife. You'll go home to your husband and your kids. You'll go home to your wife and your kids, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, if we ain't married. And we'll eat with our family. The schools are let out at 12 o'clock to 3 p.m. every day. Only thing open in the city from that time is restaurants. And it took me a while to understand why that was important. I'm just thinking, okay, this is the custom and how it go, but I realized during that time, you talk to your family every day. How's your day going? Oh, it's cool. I got into it at school, you know, or everything going good, but you check in every day with your family.
And it's kind of like a midday reset.
You know what I mean? And you sit around the table and eat. And I realized we don't do that. We don't eat it as a family that much. Holidays we do out here, but I realized, damn, that's where the bond takes place, over the food, breaking bread with your family. You know, and even outside of that, just being in a place where you know these customs have been going on for thousands of years. Us as black people in America, this is new. Even other races in America, it's only been, what, 400, 500 years? How long America been established?
Yeah, about
so
that.
This is a relatively new culture we all are participating in. And to know that the customs of the land that you in are thousands and thousands of years old does something also. You kind of feel like there's been a trial and error, so whatever ended up sticking around, this must be some value to this. You know what I'm saying?
The best thing that can come from a tragedy like this is for those of us who are still here, study the moves that Nipsey Hussle was making. Study the moves that he talked about making. And let's pick up where he left off. Thank you guys for listening.